Okay, so was just about to head out, and actually I can see we got somebody getting apprehended here. So okay, I'm going to do a quick UE and check that back out again. That looked like a young man, maybe a teenager. So people may wonder, when migrants get picked up and taken off by Customs and Border Protection, where do they wind up? And so here in Bisbee, Arizona, we've got the town of Naco straight ahead, and way off in the distance you can see the wall. But this is one of the Customs and Border Protection compounds. So I wanted to just give everyone a sense of what this looks like. This is the Brian A. Terry Border Patrol Station, Bisbee, Arizona. And it's a large-ish facility. Kind of have a front building here and then more buildings in the back. And I'm seeing the standard no trespassing signs, whatnot. So there's a complex of buildings back there with parking areas. I'm assuming likely further back is where the holding cells are for the folks that they're picking up and getting processed. But these will be dotted basically all over the border, along the border, and are the central kind of nerve stations of what happens in terms of all the migrant processing. So headed into Naco next, and actually I'm going to get the drone in the air and just show the landscape before we do too much more. Okay, so I'm in Naco, Arizona, population 1,200, and Naco, Sonora is population about 6,000. So I've stopped in here. I'm close to the wall, and right behind me I've got a Customs Border Protection officer who I just went up and said, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing. And he is pretty intent on his binoculars. I asked if I could get my drone in the air, and he's like, I don't know if I do that right now. And you're about to see why, because we have a couple of incoming. So that's indication that somebody has crossed, gone up and over likely, because what I can see here is just a pretty continuous wall. And then basically they're going to go chase them down and find them. And off he goes. Okay, so I'm guessing he might have seen something. He's definitely scanning the horizon. So I'm thinking there must be some kind of early warning system from the monitoring that they're doing right at the border. And so they've seen, he said, 2 birds incoming. So he's seen or been given notice that there's a couple of people who've crossed, and now he's headed out to, looks like he's not moving super fast, headed out to see what he can see. of the countryside here. Seen some dust on the road up there, so likely they've got somebody else who's patrolling one of their service roads. Okay. Our CBP friend is working his way up the patrol road along the wall. Watchful waiting. Gives us a chance to take a quick look at these old barriers that used to be the main portion of the wall before the new bollard style got built. I can get a nice close look at these. Concertina wire, of course, but these are primarily, obviously, oriented not towards stopping people, but stopping vehicles. So this keeps the folks from stealing cars, stealing tractors, and getting across the border into Mexico. But obviously, people can hop right over, around, under, and through. I'm a little leery about getting my drone in the air while they're in watchful waiting mode. It's been a few minutes and they're still sitting waiting. But I figure I'll walk up to the wall because we've got the transition from single wall to double wall right here. So this is going to be a cool thing to check out. So straight ahead is the second wall that they tend to run in the cities because it creates a dead zone and obviously twice as difficult to get across if they make it through the first wall. Because quite often the first wall in the middle of town, from what we're seeing, is festooned with cut marks and spots where they've chopped the bollards down and they can get right through. But if they throw up the second wall, then obviously more difficult. The Mexican towns typically will go right up to the first wall. And oftentimes it's difficult there's just not a lot of clearance between roads or, little shanty towns, buildings, whatnot, will get built almost right up to it and provide a lot of opportunity for folks on the Mexican side to, under the cover of darkness, come in and chop through the bollards. As we can see, just shooting down here, the second wall is actually higher than the first. So we've got a bunch of these rows of concertina wire. The reason that they don't necessarily put it right on top and on this side is harder to cut through from the Mexican side, but also when they throw their rope ladders down on the US side, they get all tangled, messed up in the wire. Versus they can throw their ladder up if they're going to do an up and over and, clip out the concertina wire and then flip their rope ladder over on the other side and off they go. Okay, so I've got my binoculars out and I can see what they're looking at. There is a migrant on top of the wall and it looks like he's trying to figure out how to get past the concertina wire. So he's down a little ways. Okay, now he's made his way down. Oh man, it's hard to see. It's a little ways away. I've got some fairly powerful binoculars. We're just not going to get it on this action cam, so I'll try and narrate what I'm seeing here. but he's definitely up on top of the wall still. Here. This is why we have a tripod, right? So we'll set this up in the general direction of what's going on, and I will narrate what I'm seeing as I can wedge myself in here so I'm not shaking around with these binoculars. Okay, there he is. All right. Just playing out his rope over onto the US side of the wall. Looks like he's probably standing on the top of a ladder on the Mexican side and trying to figure out how to get past the concertina wire that we saw in 3 rows. I hear an incoming helicopter. Yeah, there we go. Chopper's here, banking around. And that is why we don't put our drone in the air, because we have to stay away from what's going on with law enforcement. Okay, so Chopper is doing a little bit of a flyby. More or less just kind of hovering over from where the guy's at the top of the ladder on the wall. Homeboy's not moving. I think he got a little intimidated by the chopper showing up. That just means he's going to have a real hard time escaping out into the brush. So if he gets across the wall and gets down onto the road and is able to get away from the CBP officer in the truck and get into the brush, he's now got a chopper that he's got to try to evade, and the chopper is going to be able to keep a super close eye on him. So he'll have a real hard time getting away. There he is, okay. Chopper incoming again. Coming straight in my direction, but not quickly. I'm glad I made contact with CBP officer and identified who I was, because otherwise they might think that I'm here to pick up a migrant and take off running. Kind of a curious standoff has developed here, where the migrant or coyote or whoever this is moving too fast. I'm going to walk this way a little bit and see if I can get a little better view with the binoculars. Staying well out of the way of the law enforcement personnel, of course. Apparently he decided it's a little too hot. The helicopter coming to check you out is also a bit intimidating. And so in order to make sure this isn't just a tactical retreat on the behalf of the coyote or migrant or whoever it is that we saw, I'm sure the officers are going to be, at least in the pickups, are going to be sitting there for a while. I doubt they keep the chopper in the air for a huge length of time. Like I thought, they're just staying posted up, keeping an eye on everything, and I'm burning daylight. So I'm gonna swing here real quick through Naco. Give folks a real quick view of what this looks like. I mean, this is right at the outskirts of town that this is going on. So I think it probably makes sense that the folks are trying to get over the wall where they don't have to contend with the double wall. So it's just down from that they were trying to make their crossing. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll cruise into town. Town of 1,100 or 1,200 per last census count. So there's not going to be a whole lot to see. Mostly these are just border crossings. Oh. There's a gate that's open. Which I'm sure they're not really bothering to secure because it's totally open. A couple hundred yards down the road. Wait. Ooh, I'm going to have to turn around here. Yeah, okay. Now access to Naco AZ through port of entry. All right. So that's the border crossing right here. And because I do not want to wind up in Mexico right now, I'm going to swing across. Well, that was some excitement. Huzzah! So I'll swing now down to, oh, and I can see helicopters taking off. I can see him off in the distance. Actually, that is going to mean I can get drone in the air. Awesome. Okay. That was kind of what I was waiting for, but now he's leaving, so, like, well and truly leaving. I can see him way out there. Lots more altitude, like he's headed back to base. So I will get drone in the air, get a real quick view of what this all looks like. I know what these Border Patrol folks are thinking. They're like, pesky journalists just poking around and causing problems. Yep, pretty much. Okay, let's get drone in the air. Let's see. Up we go.
Takeoff.
Okay. Gain some elevation here real quick. All right, taking it up to about 100 feet. And then we'll do a pan. Lots of scrub brush. Although it's a little better watered here than it is further north. Oh, look at that. Like an oasis on that side. A lake thing. Cool. Okay, yeah, and this is Naco, Mexico. There's the border crossing area. And then the much smaller town of Naco, Arizona. All right. And that, as they say, is that. We'll bring her back down. Tally-ho, off to Douglas and Agua Prieta. Okay, so was just about to head out, and actually I can see we got somebody getting apprehended here. So, okay. I'm going to do a quick UE and check that back out again. That looked like a young man, maybe a teenager. to stay out of the way. But let's see what we can see with a slow roll. Okay, he's getting his stuff bagged up. So he must have made it across. Oh no, that's a girl. Okay, she must have made it across and then got caught. Okay. So the officer had said there were 2 birds incoming. Maybe that was the second one. We saw the first one who didn't make it over the wall. Wow, there it is. So driving through this last little vestige of Bisbee, and I saw a Cochise County Sheriff car. So I pulled up next to him, was chatting with him, and he told me what it would take to be able to do a ride along with them. He said it's not a long wait time, they love doing them, and I just need to fill out some paperwork to figure out a time to get in with them and do a ride along and film with them and just see what they do, all their stuff. So I know Peter Santinello has done one of these. If you haven't seen that video, it's fantastic. Great interview. He sees a whole bunch, but that was a couple of years ago. So I'd be real interested to get in here to Cochise County and do another one of these ride-alongs. And it's just kind of an update as to maybe what's happened since Peter was here and what new stuff is going on. So headed out of town now. We'll be in Douglas here in about a half an hour.